Welcome back to Next Generation Gentlemen. Today, we're going to be talking about traveling. There's some quick travel tips that will change how you go about things. First and foremost is that when you're booking traveling, use your credit card. The reason you want to use a credit card is really you want to use your credit card, period. Just as an all-around disclaimer, always use your credit card. One, if you have a good card, you're going to get points back. Two, if there's ever any issues, it's easier to dispute a credit card charge rather than try to get money put back into your bank account. So what people don't realize is that when you swipe your debit card, you're giving that machine access to literally reach in and pull cash out of your bank account. Which might sound great, except for if somebody else happens to get control of that machine, now they have the access to reach in and pull money out of your bank account, which we don't want. So from a security purpose standpoint, credit card all the way. Next is when you're booking flights. Check what times you're booking flights for and understand that there's certain times of day that the airport's going to be busier, meaning you need to know what time it is you're going to have to show up, factor in your travel time ahead of time, think 4 or 5 steps ahead. Knowing that if, say, you live 15, 20 minutes from the airport, but you're booking at 8 a.m. on a Monday morning, well, you're probably going to hit some rush hour traffic and you're probably going to hit some more traffic when you get to the airport because it's a busy time for people flying out for the week. So rather than leaving, say, with 15, 20 minutes before you needed to really be there, you want to be leaving, say, 40 minutes. Right? Factor in that travel time just to get to the airport. Also factor in on layovers. Domestically, you want at minimum, absolute minimum, a 1 hour layover. If you can book it to an hour and a half to 2 hours, hour and a half to 2 hours is about the safe range that you want to live in domestically here in the US. The reason being that flights are getting delayed, flights are canceled more and more often. So if you book yourself and you end up with a longer layover, it might seem like a pain in the ass and a little bit of a longer travel day. However, it cuts down on stress if, say, you have a 58-minute layover, an hour layover, hour 15 layover, but then your flight gets delayed. Not because it's sitting there waiting at the gate to leave, but because the plane coming in got delayed by 45 minutes. So now all of a sudden that just ate up your entire layover, assuming that you're able to leave and land on time. And the other plane is leaving on time, right? And if you're booking 2 to 3 layovers, understand that that's going to have to factor in. So really you want to aim for an hour and a half to 2 hour layover these days, domestically. International, you need 3 hours minimum. Make sure that when you're booking your flight, you look at the plane and you look at where your seat is, right? Understand, do you want to be an aisle person or a window person? If you're an aisle person, fantastic. If you're a window person, cool. If you're a middle seat person, bon chance, fucking psycho. But regardless, when you're booking tickets, look at the plane, look at the model, go to Seat Guru, and figure out what seat it is that's going to give you the best experience, right? Because you're booking this flight, even though, depending on what area of the plane you're in, might be better or worse, it's good to know what you're getting yourself into. So some planes, especially if it's, again, domestic, it's a little puddle hopper, it might only be 2 and 2. Or you might be on a plane where you have 2 on one side, 1 on the other. Would you rather have that single, aisle? These are things to take a look at when you look at the seat map. Understand that if you're, say, booking a first class ticket, not all first class is created the same. On certain airlines, certain legs, you might have a lie flat versus you might have a 2 and 2 where you only get to recline slightly, right? Or in premium economy, what's premium economy actually look like on different airlines? It's all different. Pay attention to these things ahead of time. You're going to be able to give yourself a more enjoyable experience. And when we look at hotels, again, look ahead, right? Look for what is it that you're traveling for, where you're going to, and then when you're booking your accommodations, make sure that you're booking something that's nearby, but research ahead of time, right? Research what else is in the area. Are you booking in an area that has access to things like, say, a pharmacy or a grocery store, or places to grab food late at night or early in the morning, to a gym that you want to go visit? Whatever it is, however it is you like to travel, plan things out ahead of time. Take 30 minutes, 45 minutes, do a little Google Map search, find out what's in the area, how far it is, look at actual travel times, because there's something you got to remember. If you're in Las Vegas, it might say that something's 5-6 miles away, but that could be a 10-minute drive, or it could be a 2 to 3 hour walk. Whereas in other cities, it might be a little bit quicker and easier to walk certain places because they're built for walking. Say New York City, right? New York City's built that you can walk up and down the streets and traverse it. It has the subway system. There's all kinds of ways to get around. Cars aren't necessarily always going to be the thing. But in a place like, say, Dallas, cars might be the thing depending on the time of day, right? Depending on how bad their rush hour is. Every city will usually like to say, oh, we have the worst traffic, it's awful, because they view it as a badge of pride. It's that whole, victim mentality. Feel bad for me, give me sympathy points. There's only a couple cities that have truly fucking horrendous traffic. I mean, outside of New York, Boston, LA, certain parts of Seattle, everywhere else is like, not that bad usually. But moral of the story is, do a little bit of research ahead of time. And really, when you're traveling, that's the name of the game. If you do your work ahead of time and you do some research, do some Google mapping, read some reviews, find out from people who have been there before, who do the stuff that you like to do, find out what's going on, what's the deal, and you'll make yourself, have a much more enjoyable experience because you know what to expect, and you can avoid some of the traps of getting caught by surprise when you book a flight and then all of a sudden say you fly into, Salt Lake City and your gate isn't actually a gate attached to the airport. Your gate is something that you got to walk down some steps, hop on a bus, and catch the bus over to the terminal. So what was, a safe 45-minute to an hour layover, well, actually you end up missing your flight because the bus can only run so many times, and you didn't look that kind of stuff up ahead of time. So find all these things out, and you'll find yourself and anyone who travels with you to have a much more enjoyable experience. Now, if you found this content valuable, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, follow us here at Next Gen Gentlemen, and go back to Instagram, follow us on Instagram at Next Gen Gentlemen for more tips like this, nextgengentlemen.com if you want to get in the course and really take your life to the next level.